From the John C. Hench Production Arts Studios in Peoria, Illinois, VideoMax Limited presents Midstate Magazine with your hosts, Kayla Neitz and Kyle Peck. News with Aaron Morden and Danielle Kayimski, featuring your Midstate reporting team. Sports with Katrina Baumgartner. Get Real with Nikki Garabrandt. Stephanie Robbins is on the beat. State of the Arts with Brooke James. Rebecca Williams is in the spotlight. Anna Tassi takes us about town. And About Crew with Noel Mefford. And now, from America's friendliest city, Midstate Magazine. Take it away, kids.
Good evening and welcome to a new season of Midstate Magazine. I'm your host, Kyle Peck.
And I'm Kayla Neitz. Thank you for joining us today. So Kyle, today is going to be your first time on Midstate Magazine. I'm returning, but I'm also very excited to start the new season. Now, why don't you tell us a little bit how you got involved with Midstate? Well,
last semester I was a teleprompter and I got to get some first exposure to Midstate Magazine and what they do in the television arts program. And I really enjoyed being the type of person who would basically roll down the credits and roll down the lines. And I did some, broadcasting work past high school, and I just started enjoying it. And
very good. So does that have anything to do with the career you want to pursue in the future after your secondary education or anything like that? What do you want to eventually do with it?
Well, what I want to do is I want to actually be an actor in film, but the closest thing that I found was television arts, and being the host for this show is an honor.
Sure. And I'm sure that'll benefit you just being in front of a camera, in front of an audience, everything like that. I actually want to be a talk show host when I grow up.
Really?
When I grow up. But there's no major to be a talk show host, believe it or not.
No, there's not. So
this is the closest thing. I decided to do TV arts, and so I'm rolling with that. But in terms of, the beginning of the new season, it's finally changing. The leaves are going to start, falling once again, which I am not looking forward to because I cannot stand the cold weather.
Right.
But how did you do over the summer? Did you go anywhere fun?
Yeah, I took an internship in Sacramento at California Musical Theater. I was a production intern. I was doing as mundane projects as basically organizing and labeling clothing to as various as sewing a purse for Mary Poppins musical or making a birdcage.
I'd love to hear more about that right after this, okay? Let's go to the news team.
Good evening. Welcome to Midstate Magazine. I'm Aaron Morden.
And I'm Jill Hiemski. Let's take a look at the news.
An $800,000 road project will help resurface parts of Illinois Business Route 24 through Washington. Last week, contractors began the preliminary work on Business 24 for the road patching project, according to Illinois Department of Transportation spokesman Brian Williamson. Included in the project is patching of Illinois Route 29 from Fisher Road to Creve Coeur in Camp Street in East Peoria. Once the Illinois Route 29 patching is complete, the crews will begin patching Illinois Business Route 24 in Washington from Zinser Place to Cummings Lane. Governor Pat Quinn announced last week that more than $17 million went to road construction projects in Champaign, DeWitt, McLean, Peoria, Piatt, and Tazewell counties. Natural disasters have caused more construction in central Illinois. Nikki Garabrandt has more on that subject in Washington.
On November 17th, an EF4 tornado tore through the town of Washington, Illinois, and afterwards, this house was barely left standing. But that didn't stop homeowner Carrie Cronky or the rest of the Washington community from overcoming this disaster and rebuilding their hometown.
We just knew that we were going to rebuild, and in fact, in the area that we live, everybody is rebuilding. We never considered not rebuilding, and I think that's a really cool thing about Washington. It's very much of a community.
Even though Carrie's house wasn't completely destroyed, there was enough damage done to make it too unsafe to live in, so it had to be torn down and is now being rebuilt.
We went upstairs and we still had walls and ceiling, and every window in our house blew, and so there was glass everywhere. Our garage door was shut and there was a wall there, but both those things were gone. And so we could look across the street and our neighbor's house was gone and everything down the street was gone. I think everybody's just excited to rebuild. And in Washington, we really know our neighbors, and everybody, you know, they're helping out, and there's lots of organizations that have done things. Restaurants have donated food, and so it's really drawn Washington together as a community. It's really been amazing. I can't imagine living anywhere else in central Illinois besides Washington.
In Washington, for Midstate Magazine, I'm Nikki Gerbrandt.
The political battles are heating up ahead of the November election. This past Wednesday, Governor Quinn came to Peoria to discuss minimum wage. The state's current minimum wage is $8.25 an hour. That's $1 more than the federal minimum. Locally, he stopped at the McDonald's on Main Street in Peoria. It is the same location that workers joined others around the world in May, striking for higher pay.
Habitat for Humanity of Greater Peoria has celebrated another big milestone. Bianca Sassman and her 5 children started to build their new home in East Peoria Saturday. A wall-raising ceremony was held this morning. This is the 104th home to be built by Habitat for Humanity of Greater Peoria. Their work has made a huge impact in the Greater Peoria area and has helped many families live better lives.
Doctors are warning a respiratory illness that has already sickened more than 1,000 children in 10 states is likely to become a nationwide problem. Enteroviruses bring on symptoms like a very intense cold and are very common. But experts say the unusual thing with this strain is that so many children have been hospitalized with symptoms that include difficulty in breathing. Now let's go to sports with Katrina.
Thanks, Danielle. Ray Rice was let go on Monday by the Ravens after a video of him hitting his then fiancée in an elevator was released by TMZ Sports. The video shows both Rice and Janie Palmer hit each other before Rice knocks her off her feet and into a railing. The NFL has suspended Rice indefinitely. The NFL has adopted a new domestic violence policy, which includes a 6-game suspension for the first offense and indefinite suspension for second offenses. On Monday the 1st, the Chiefs ended their second season by beating the Kane County Cougars 6-5 in a thrilling 12-inning game. Vaughn Bryan scored the game-winning run in the bottom of the 12th inning on a wild pitch. Shortstop Richie Pedroza had a huge game of the season with 4 hits and narrowly missed hitting for a cycle when he got thrown out at third base. He also hit his first professional home run for the Chiefs. Chiefs outfielder Luis Perez also added 4 hits to the Chiefs' cause. The Chiefs ended their season going 35-35 in the second half of the season by finishing 5 games over 500 with a 72-67 record. The Chiefs ended up with the 5th best record in the Midwest League. The Mustangs got behind early in their second game of the season on Sunday, falling behind 2-0 in the first period against the Chicago Bulldogs. The Bulldogs scored 2 minutes into the game and then again later in the period. Neither team scored again until Marshall Jevers scored early in the third period to cut the deficit to 2-1. Chance Holmgren tied the game with 5 minutes left. Both teams went scoreless in the overtime period, sending it to a shootout. Nathan Vibreg scored the game-winning goal shootout to even the Mustangs' record at 1-1. The Mustangs' next game is Saturday the 13th against LA Cross Freeze. That's all for sports. Back to you, Danielle.
Thanks, Katrina. One of the original Soviet dog spacesuits is up for bidding this month. The full-body suit will go up for auction on September 13th. It is expected to sell up to $100,000. It is believed to be one of the suits used on the Korobi Sputnik 2 mission in 1960. Bielka and Strelka were the 2 dogs who went on this mission into space and the first to return to Earth successfully. Hey, Americans had dogs, Americans had monkeys, Russians had dogs, but to each their own.
Well, that wraps up Midstate for the week. I'm Katrina Baumgartner.
I'm Aaron Morton.
And I'm Dale Hayimski. Have a great night and be sure to join us next week. Thanks, news team.
There is always so much to see and do in Peoria.
We'll check up with that later. And, you know, you were telling me, the Ray Rice story actually reminded me of something you were telling me about Bristol Palin earlier.
Yes, I recently found out that Bristol Palin actually punched a guy 6 times during Sarah Palin's party.
Oh my gosh. Do you know why it happened? What had happened right before that? She wanted to punch him?
No, I was wondering what your opinion was about it.
Well, in my opinion, he probably had it coming. Whatever he said, he probably made a rude remark or something like that. But
yeah.
That's interesting because 6 times, that's pretty deliberate. There's one time, she gets a punch in, but then to continue to do it, that's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's just a little weird, and I don't know if if it was, I don't want to assume anything, but you never know with those types of things.
Sure. Well, speaking of weird news, I actually heard a story about, well, you know how people will walk their dogs and just let them, do what they want to do in your yard.
Sure.
And then typically what they do is they grab a garbage bag and they clean it up. So I'm going to tell you what happened with that in just a little bit, okay?
Okay.
This week, About Town takes us to one of the most beautiful places, especially during the fall time. Let's check in with Anna Tassi.
In 1910, President Theodore Roosevelt visited the town of Peoria and declared Grandview Drive as the world's most beautiful drive. Grandview is known for their lovely panoramic view of the Illinois River Valley. Peoria Heights resident Jill Mines is a frequent walker of this path.
I love all the trees, I love all the different views, I love the four seasons. We walk every day in the winter too.
Along this drive we can find Grandview Park, which is ran by the Peoria Park District. From a hiking trail to picnic benches, a sand volleyball court, playground, and designated overlooks, Grandview Park is a friendly place for people of all ages.
We are here today. We have a group called a cousins group because we're all related. Our fathers were all brothers and native Peorians. And we just gotten together a couple of years ago because we're all just cousins about the same age. And we decided to meet every month, and since the weather's so nice, and once a year we meet at a park.
Shirley Williams, longtime Peoria resident, says Grandview Park has been a part of her family for years.
We're completing a tradition that we started in probably 1985. We brought my granddaughter here at 9 months, and we took a picture of us in the swing. I was holding her in my lap. And every year now since then, except one that we did miss, we come out here and we go to that tree, and then she comes over and she climbs this tree.
Located along Grandview Drive in Peoria Heights, Grandview Park opens daily from sunrise to 11 p.m. If you're looking for a place to relax and enjoy a nice day in Peoria, Grandview Park is the perfect place to be.
Thank you, Anna. President Roosevelt claimed Grandview to be the most beautiful drive, and that is exactly right.
That was a really great location. I'm glad we got to be a part of that, and just seeing the video was really great. So I think I'm going to have to take a trip down there at some point. But what I was telling you earlier was that this woman who has her neighbor's dogs just keep going in her yard. And so basically what she's decided to do is put up a sign that says, you know, if it happens again, she will be defecating in their yard and on their cars. So kind of an extreme decision to make from a dog, but pretty funny because, you know, I've never heard of that before. I don't know about you.
I've never heard about it either. Why would they do that?
I guess that's her only way to, you know, get back at them for letting her dogs go to the bathroom in their yard. So it's an extreme measure, but you got to do what you got to do to get your yard clean. She probably, you know, what she basically said was that Los Angeles is such an expensive area to live in.
It is very expensive.
It's very expensive to keep the lawn care like held up and stuff like that. So, you know, why would she want the dogs ruining her lawn that she's paid so much money for?
Right.
This summer went by so fast, didn't it? Let's check in with Nikki Garabrandt and see what her favorite movie was this summer and Get Real.
Hey, it's Nikki Garabrandt, and welcome to this edition of Get Real. This week, we're checking out the latest action movie from actor and producer Pierce Brosnan. 12 years since he last played James Bond, Brosnan trades in his MI6 badge for a CIA assignment. The November Man is a spy versus spy thriller that pits a retired CIA agent against his former protege. Pierce Brosnan plays Peter Devereaux, who is brought out of retirement to help an important Chechen refugee escape. He ends up matching wits with his former student, David Mason, played by Luke Bracey. But as with most modern spy movies, not all is as it seems, and the many twists and turns of the film will keep you guessing who's the real good guy right up to the very end. The screenplay provides good character development for Devereaux and Alice Fournier, a girl with a secret, played by Olga Kurilenko, but not much for anybody else. The rest of the film is filled out with the usual two-dimensional bureaucrats, assassins, and love interests, and of course, lots of violence. Special effects are produced old school without the ubiquitous CGI used on most films nowadays. That gives the car chases and explosions a realism you rarely see anymore, which makes the action scenes even more engrossing and enjoyable to watch. The clever plot can be interested in trying to guess what would happen next, and that made it a fun summer movie in my book. The November Man opened on August 27th, but is still in theaters now, and has grossed nearly $18 million as of last week. And if you like the movie, read the book. There's a whole series of novels by Bill Granger featuring Devereaux as the November Man. I'm Nikki Garabrandt, and I'll see you next time on Get Real.
Thanks, Nikki. That looks like a really good movie.
It's been a while since I've seen a really good action movie, so I think I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of entertainment, they were just talking about entertainment and movies and things like that. Are you aware that the new iPhone will be out very shortly?
No, I'm not.
I think it actually had come out on the 12th or something like that, but it's coming out for pre-order, and basically what they're going to be doing is If you have the iPhone 5, it's going to be very different.
Okay.
They're going to introduce the iPhone 6, and then a couple months later, they're going to be introducing the 6 Plus. And the biggest difference between the 6 and 6 Plus is just the size. All of the programming and the update and the software is exactly the same. It's just if you want the bigger size.
So wait a minute, if it's just the size, why don't they add like other features to it?
Well, because obviously they're going to make more money if they're getting all of their features out of the way. The biggest thing is the iOS 8. That's the biggest programmer software that they're coming out with, which is already available on the 12th. So I'm actually pretty interested in seeing what it's going to be like. It looks like it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about that in a bit.
Let's see what local Bradley students have been up to lately with Griffin Sassano on Street Team.
Hey, it's Griffin. We're going to go talk with some Bradley students about what they did this past weekend. What did you do this past weekend?
This past weekend, I hung out with my girlfriend, went to this dog charity event called Wolfstock.
I studied a lot, and I tried to hang out with all my friends and try to get intramural sports going.
I laid in bed sick with a severe upper respiratory infection.
I sat around, I got caught up on some shows, I relaxed, enjoyed the weather, it was real nice, had a bonfire.
I went to a fellows retreat, and that was pretty fun.
I joined a fraternity, which was really fun.
We had our first new members meeting for our sorority.
We had Anadexis for the Greek life. We had Rush, we had some Rush events, and the block party on Sunday.
What are you looking forward to doing this weekend?
The watermelon bash for Lambda Chi on Saturday.
I have a big chemistry test coming up on Tuesday, so prepare for that.
Hanging out with the new guys, getting to know them, going out to dinner or something like that.
Pumpkin Festival in Morton. They always got some good pumpkin chili. I love the pumpkin pancakes, so I got to go over to Morton and represent.
I don't know, maybe finishing my homework and just getting stuff done, kind of chilling with my new friends, all the fun college stuff, I guess.
For Midstate Magazine, I'm Griffin Sassano.
Well, it looks like Bradley students have really been busy and are really involved on the campus.
Yeah.
Have you gotten involved on campus in any way?
I have. I actually joined a frat as well.
Awesome.
I'm part of Phi Kappa Phi.
Very cool. All right, so we were talking a little bit about the iPhone. I want to move on from that. It's very cool, but I'm sure that we're going to be hearing so much about it later on.
Right.
Did you get a chance to go to the Pumpkin Festival?
I did not.
Okay, it was very good. I totally encourage it. Yeah, it's over for this year, but I'm actually really surprised that they don't have it a little bit later into the fall season in October because it is so fall, October, so driven with the pumpkins and everything like that. But their best thing by far is their pumpkin ice cream and their pumpkin donuts. So if you know someone that did go, I would go over there and just kind of try to mooch off them just a little bit.
I'll try.
Try to get something like that because it's very good.
Yeah, I actually haven't been to any of the pumpkin festivals at all, so I want to try and do it this year before I have to,
Yeah, absolutely. Before it's over and it's winter and we're all freezing. So
yes.
So they mentioned plans over the weekend, what they did, what they're going to do. Do you have any plans over the weekend?
Do I have any plans? I'm going to be working on a lot of homework. I'm going to be rehearsing for an upcoming musical called Spring Awakening.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
All right, I will actually be going to my brother's wedding, so I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully the weather will stay nice for just a little bit longer because it's an outdoor wedding. And nobody wants to be freezing in heels and a dress.
You never know with weather these days, because half the time I look at the weather forecast and I think, okay, what is it really going to be like?
Oh, sure.
And one day it's sunny and the next it's going to be raining like there's no tomorrow.
Oh, sure. And even if you check it in the morning and it says it's going to rain, it might not rain all day until 12 o'clock at night. So then it's like, well, I brought my umbrella and my rain jacket and my rain boots for nothing.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of typical of Illinois weather, don't you think?
Yeah. Very. I mean, being a California person and just, getting used to this weather, I'm just adapting to everything.
Absolutely.
Let's check in with Brooke Janes on SOA and her special guest.
Hello, and welcome to State of the Arts. I'm your host, Brooke Janes. Tonight, we're pleased to welcome Josiah Williams, a Bradley alum who helped create Bradley's first official song and music video, titled One More Night in Peoria. Welcome to the show, Josiah.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, as I just mentioned, you're an alum of Bradley University.
Yes.
What was your major? What did you graduate with?
I graduated with a degree in theater, concentration in performance.
Okay. So, is that something that you're utilizing right now?
Not really, no. Right now I work for a congresswoman in town.
Okay.
Yes, Congresswoman Sherry Bustos.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of a different side of the spectrum.
Very much so.
How did you come upon that?
I went to a job fair, one of Bradley's job fairs, and to make a long story short, they were looking for a summer intern, and I was looking for full-time employment.
Yeah.
they asked for my resume anyway, and then somehow after 2 interviews, I got the job.
There you go. So has that sparked your interest? Is that something that you want to do full time, or?
Well, I mean, it is full-time job for now, but I don't plan on doing this. Yeah, long term.
No.
No, not at all.
What's your ultimate goal?
I would love to open up a center for the arts.
Okay.
So just have kids be able to come in and learn about African drumming, Latin dancing.
There you go.
All styles of acting, just everything at once.
Nice, nice. So that's like an entrepreneurial thing. So you would open the center, you wouldn't?
Yeah, so I always dreamed about, when I was a kid, actually, I went into a lot of these programs, and that's kind of where it got started, the idea that keep it going. I know that the arts are being cut in schools and stuff like that, so
that's a very good one.
Open up a center and have kids create.
Yeah, and you're going to perform for us today, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and it's an original piece.
Yes, this is a song called Starts With You. It's a motivational track for kids, well, I guess for anybody. You don't have to be a kid to be motivated, but yeah, it tells a good message.
Sure, so it's going to be the kickoff song for your place of employment in the future. Perfect. Well, if you want to head over.
Absolutely.
Give us a little taste.
Have some fun. All right. Thanks for having me, by the way. I appreciate it. Yeah. No matter what's going on, even if you need a little motivation or a dream to believe in, well, I got you. J. Will. I look at the black kids on the block like they're my brothers. Whether by themselves or in a pack, we got each other. Cause everybody tell them that they won't amount to nothing. Just a number and a color, straight to jail, keep it coming. But I tell them, ain't nobody stopping you from grabbing what you want. Ain't nobody stopping you from grabbing what you want. Ain't nobody stopping you from grabbing what you want. You just gotta work your hardest till you're standing in the front. I'll show you what it's like every single day, putting in that work. Ain't no other way. Everything you see in your dreams can come true. You gotta understand it all starts with you. So go, 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 go hard. Go, 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 go hard. You wanna make it, you gotta go tonight. Let's go. You gotta go hard tonight. I started thinking about 55 at 21. Had my wisest friend telling me my dreams were starting young. I let go of that extra baggage I carried inside my pockets. I saw it holding me down as I was trying to skyrocket. Look back at my younger self, that was the slower me. Dragging my feet around, sitting back saying hopefully, when I could have been getting my job done. Making something happens, that's what happens when you find out you're on fire for your passion. Yeah. I'm always hungry for more, probably cause in my hood I'm so disturbed by the poor. Read a story about a lady got arrested as she sobbed, left her kids inside the car, just trying to get a job. Look, I'm writing these songs for 600,000 reasons, to give these kids in my city something good to believe in. Look, none of us are perfect, but we're striving for the best, so throw it up for those youngins that are fighting for success. I'll show you what it's like every single day, putting in that work, ain't no other way. Everything you see in your dreams can come true. You gotta understand it all starts with you. So go, 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 go. Go hard, yeah. You wanna make it, you gotta go hard tonight. Look, I look at the black kids on the block like they're my daughters, and I hate to think about what all these younger men would call her. They never know how hard the pressure is for girls around the nation. If you believe in that, look one of them in their face, say, ain't nobody stopping you from grabbing what you want. Ain't nobody stopping you from grabbing what you want. Ain't nobody stopping you from grabbing what you want. You just gotta work your hardest till you're standing in the front, yeah. Oh yeah, putting in that work, ain't no other way. Everything you see in your dreams can come true. You gotta understand it all starts with you. So go, 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 go hard. You wanna make it, you gotta go hard tonight. You gotta go hard tonight. Let that music ride out, ride out. Let that music ride out, ride out. Let that music ride out. One more time, say it.
That's all for State of the Arts. I'm your host, Brooke Janes.
He is awesome. He had such a great song. He actually has a website, jdeanwilliams.com, and you can check him out on Facebook at facebook.com/jdeanwilliams.
Yeah, Josiah is a really big inspiration as a musical artist and as a theatrical performer. I actually got to work with him in 3 different productions, and he has a big heart. He's a strong person for the arts, and he's just a great person in general.
Absolutely. How did you meet him originally?
Through the theater department. I first, worked with him in one musical, and then, we just started to bond from there, and it grew, and, I got his back and he's got mine. And
awesome. Well, that's really great to have, such a great person and such a great friend that you can count on.
Yeah.
You're so closely that you get to work with.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. The other thing I was going to ask you is if you had any productions coming up where you get to perform with them.
No, actually, Josiah recently graduated,
Oh, okay.
so he's still around in Peoria, but he'll still be around, being a big supporter of the theater building, and even,
Yeah, and you mentioned that he's inspired you in music. Do you do anything with music yourself?
No, I do not, but his theatrical aspect and his prowess is always something that I try to try and do. So
yeah, and it's good to see that he's writing such motivational and such uplifting songs, because I think that music in general affects people in such a way that not a lot of other things can. And so the fact that he's writing to the youth, and he said for anybody, but especially to the youth who are growing up and they hear all these other songs that aren't quite as guiding them down the path that they might be.
Yeah, and even most rap music just goes down through a negative influence, and Josiah does more positive things, and that makes him stand out, I think.
Sure, yeah, he did a really great job. Well, we also talked about a lot of other things today. We talked about the change of the seasons, the Pumpkin Festival.
Yep.
We talked about what you'd be doing this weekend, what we had coming up. But how did you like your first show?
I'm enjoying it. It's a little bit bumpy, but eventually the nerves will be overcome, and I will just hammer it down and improv it and make sure that everything just goes as relaxed and confident as possible.
Absolutely. And how are you feeling about coming up next week? We'll be having our segment again next week.
Yeah, I'll definitely be a little more prepared with what I need to do. So
well, I just want to say that you did a great job today. I can't wait to do it again on our very next segment. I heard a lot of really interesting stories that I know that we can talk about next week, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, can't wait.
The weather hopefully is going to stay nice for me this weekend because of my brother's wedding.
It still needs to be more sunny, but
yes.
That snow's and rain's going to kick in eventually.
Yes,
so.
It will, but hopefully it can hold off just a little while longer. I'm not too, afraid of if it's a little bit chilly. Anybody can deal with a little bit of chill, but if it's going to rain or be, muggy or anything like that, that's where it gets kind of messy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how are things? Well, actually, we're just about out of time, so we're going to talk next week, okay?
Okay, yeah. Well, that's all for Midstate Magazine this week. I'm Kyle Peck.
And I'm Kayla Neitz. See you next week.
All right.